Scott Heckert will make his NASCAR Cup Series debut for Live Fast Motorsports. Michael Waltrip will be joining the SRX full-time in 2021. And it seems like there's an internal feud going on between Joey Logano and Brad Keselowski after Daytona 500. What's going on, guys? It's Daniel, and welcome back to another video. We got quite a few NASCAR stories to discuss here today on the channel. Let's go ahead and just jump straight into it. Let's start off with all the sponsor announcements that have come off over the last 24 hours. Let's jump straight into those. Let's start off with Jeb Burton's 2021 State Water Heaters paint scheme. I like this paint scheme quite a bit. Jeb Burton has been partnered up with State Water Heaters basically since the beginning of his career, which started back in 2012, 2013 in the Truck Series. Paint scheme looks really cool in my opinion. Can't wait to see this car on the racetrack. I think this is going to be a car we're going to see this tomorrow at the Daytona Road Course. Like the paint scheme a lot. Can't wait to see it out on the racetrack. The next paint scheme we're going to take a look at is Austin Dillon's 2021 Dow Mobility Scheme. Austin Dillon has Dow on the car once again this year. Scheme was pretty good in my opinion. I like it overall. Colors match really well. There's actually more black on the car than there was on the previous Dow car, so I do like that overall, and I like the paint scheme a lot. Can't wait to see it out on the racetrack in 2021. The next paint scheme we're going to take a look at is Ryan Preece's 2021 Kroger and Coca-Cola paint scheme. I'm going to be honest with this one here. I think the colors actually do work pretty well with this car, but the problem I have with this car overall is the blue numbers on the car. The blue just is out of place in my opinion. If the car basically had white numbers, I think that this car would look a lot better. It just doesn't feel complete in my opinion. Again, I'm not a big fan of the blue numbers overall. I like the color scheme. I like the red, white, and blue on it, but the only thing I'm really not a big fan of is the numbers. It's not a terrible scheme in my opinion, but it's not a fantastic paint scheme. The next paint scheme we're going to take a look at is Ryan Truex' Jacob Company's truck, as he is going to be sponsored. They're going to be sponsoring Ryan Truex for select races this year, starting at the Daytona Road Course this weekend. Again, the number of races has not been announced at this time, but they will be sponsoring Ryan Truex here in 2021. I like this paint scheme overall. The colors match up pretty well. I like it overall. I can't wait to see it on the racetrack. And good news to hear that Jacob Companies is going down in the Truck Series and sponsoring Ryan Truex in 2021. The next paint scheme we're going to take a look at is Bobby Reyes' 2021 I Heart Mac and Cheese paint scheme. This paint scheme is freaking awesome. I don't know what I Heart Mac and Cheese is. I think it's like a fast pasta company to basically make mac and cheese. It's definitely an interesting scheme, to say the least. I really do like it overall. And it's really cool that Bobby Reyes is also going to be running select starts here, which we're going to talk about that really soon. But yeah, I like the paint scheme overall, and I cannot wait to see it out on the racetrack in 2021. The next paint scheme we're going to take a look at is the Roush Chastain 2021 McDonald's paint scheme. I'm going to be real with this one. This paint scheme is not that great, to be honest. I think the colors overall, the McDonald's colors actually do work really well. The red and the yellow actually does work out. The white numbers work really well. But the one thing I'm not a fan of is the contingency area with the arch, the M arch near the left front tire. I don't know what's going on with that. The M arch is back. I just don't know what's going on with that. And the back one near the rear, it's just incomplete. I'm just not a fan of this scheme overall. I think this is one of the worst McDonald's schemes that has come out. It doesn't work out very well. There's something just really feels incomplete about the sponsor, and I do not like this paint scheme overall. But yeah, that's on the Roush Chastain McDonald's scheme. The next sponsor announcement that came out was on CarParts.com, as they are going to be joining once again this team for 4 races, sponsoring Michael McDowell for 4 races in 2021. They'll be sponsoring a Watkins Glen, the Indianapolis Road Course, Daytona, in Las Vegas. It's no surprise that Michael McDowell is continuing to pick up sponsors. I mean, Lust extended their sponsor from 8 races to 20 races for the season, and now they're going to be sponsoring Michael McDowell for 4 races in 2021. And Michael McDowell is continuing, and they're going to be getting a lot more money as well, especially from Daytona over the next couple years. So it's no surprise, especially after when you win the Daytona 500, you're going to gain a lot more sponsors and a lot more traction. It's really awesome that someone like Michael McDowell, an underdog, is to continue to pick up funding. And yeah, I'm really glad that CarParts.com is going to be working with them in 2021. Once again, I'm very happy for Michael McDowell. And then the final sponsor announcement that was related to race cars came out, and it's about Roush Fenway Racing, actually. So, Roush Fenway Racing is going to become the first carbon-neutral NASCAR team, and they will have a white and black cash draw scheme. Basic simplicity, they're basically going to be reducing carbon reduction and their offset programs across their operations, across the track. They'll be bringing a simplistic scheme to the Daytona Road Course, as they will be reducing, like, their carbon emissions for 2021. This is a really cool addition. The scheme looks really awesome. It's very simple, and it's very, very plain, and we don't need all that wasted space, just like with carbon reduction emissions. That is really awesome. Huge congratulations to Roush Racing. And ever since Castrol's come in, this is something they've basically planned since last year. I'm really, really happy overall for Roush Racing, Family Racing on this front, and I'm really excited for them. And congratulations to them on becoming the first carbon-neutral NASCAR team. And now we're getting on to the next story of today's episode, as we're going to talk about Richmond Racing, as Toyota has officially renewed its Richmond Spring entitlements for 2021 and is setting a pact to start in 2013. Toyota has sponsored the Spring Xfinity Series and the Cup Series events since 2013. They've called the Cup Series the Toyota Owners 400 to be sponsored now once again, and they've called the Toyota Care 250 since 2013. Xfinity Series, Toyota has been partnered up with Richmond Racing since 2013. I would assume that they are going to continue sponsoring past 2021 as well. It is really cool that Toyota is continuing to sponsor Richmond International Speedway, and really exciting news for them, and glad to hear Richmond continues to pick up sponsorship going forward for 2021. And now we're going to go ahead and get on to the next story of today's episode, is we're now going to go ahead and talk about Scott Heckard, as he is going to be driving the 78 for Live Fast Motorsports here at the Daytona Road Course, and Motorsports Games will be the official sponsor on this car. For those who know, it was originally revealed that BJ McCall was going to go full-time with his team in 2021, but plans have changed, and BJ McCall will be moving to the ownership role for this upcoming race. As Scott Heckard, a driver who's been driving for this team for the last couple of years as a road course driver, he'll be stepping into this car for the Daytona Road Course. I think that this absolutely 100% makes sense that Scott Heckard is jumping into this car. Scott Heckard is a guy that has won 3 road course races when it was called the K&N E-Series, now the Arcade Series. He scored a couple wins there when it was in the Justin Marks, Kyle Larson organization. He was able to win and contended for a championship as well with that team, and also won a race at Bowman Gray Stadium. Scott Heckard is a guy that is an underdog, especially on these road course races, and I do think that here, I think he has a great shot overall of contending for a great run with the team. Again, I don't think this team is going to win. I don't think they're going to be up to speed very, very fast. But I think that there is a very strong possibility that Scott Heckard here at the Daytona Road Course could do very, very well. And I also would not be surprised as well if this will lead to more opportunities for Scott Heckard to race in more races in 2021. I would not be surprised if he does very well, because he's been with the team for quite some time. I would not be shocked if he runs possibly up to 4 or 5 road course races here. Again, I think BJ McLeod is going to run all the oval racetracks, super speedways, the mile and a half tracks, and, the bigger tracks as well, and the short tracks as well. But I do think Scott Heckard will be the road course driver for 2020. Maybe Tony Stewart comes on and races. Who really knows? But yeah, I'm really excited for Scott Heckard. I think it's a very good decision for the team. He's been working at the team for a very, very long time, and I cannot wait to see what Scott Heckard is going to do. I think the goal for Scott Heckard is to finish in the top 30. I know it's a basic goal for that team, but they're a startup team, and their goal is to just continue to get up to speed, and hopefully with the SHR backing a little bit, they're able to pick it up a little bit and continue to improve as an organization for the 2020 season. And congratulations to Scott Heckard on getting an opportunity to race at them for 2021. And now we're going to go ahead and get on to the next story of today's episode, as the Roush brothers are going to be competing part-time for Jordan Anderson Racing in 2021. Bobby Roush will complete in 3 races in 2021. His first race is going to come here at the Daytona Road Course, and Roger Roush is competing for 4 races in 2021. I think that's probably all the road course races the Truck Series has. I don't remember how many road course races the Truck Series has this year, but they will be competing part-time for Jordan Anderson Racing in 2021. I think this is a really good opportunity for the Roush brothers. They've raced on road courses for quite some time. It had been reported earlier this past week on Friday after the Truck Series race at Daytona that Bobby Roush was going to race here at the Daytona Road Course, and now we know that they're going to be running part-time in 2021. I think, like I said, it's a really good opportunity for them. I hope they can perform very well, and I'm really excited for them, and I can't wait to see what they're going to do in 2021 in these select starts. I think the goal for both of them is to try to finish at least in the top 20 in each of these races. I know the Truck Series is very, very competitive, but with their road course experience, I could definitely see some good runs out of them. Yeah, good luck to both of them, and good luck to Bobby Roush tonight, as he will be competing in the Truck Series race here at the Daytona Road Course. Good luck to Bobby Roush. And now we're getting on to the next story of today's episode, something very, very exciting that was announced this past evening. Las Vegas Motor Speedway's plans to have fans has officially been approved. They will have 20% capacity for the Las Vegas race, but there will be no fan access to the pit or garage areas. I think it absolutely makes a lot of sense that they're having no fan access to the pit garage areas. They haven't been doing that since last year, since fans have been available. So there's no surprise right there. But it's really exciting that Las Vegas is going to have fans, because there had been a possibility that Las Vegas Motor Speedway was not going to have fans here in 2021 at any of their racetracks, because they had no plans for like a couple weeks ago. They had not had their plans approved to have fans at the racetrack. But now with the fact that they're going to have fans at the racetrack is really, really exciting. And there's going to be about 16,000 to 17,000 fans. I think they have 8,000 seats at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. And the fact that they're going to have 20% capacity is overall really, really exciting. And I'm really happy to see we're going to have fans at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. I believe that they're going to have all the social distancing measures, face masking, all that stuff. I don't know if they're going to be enforcing as much as they did at the Chili Bowl. But yeah, really cool that they're going to be having fans at the racetrack, and really excited to hear that. And can't wait to see the fans at the racetrack at Las Vegas. I think the next race to find out if we're going to have fans or not is Atlanta Motor Speedway, because Bristol Dirt, they've had their races sold out with all their capacity and stuff. But the next race to find out if we're going to have fans or not is Atlanta Motor Speedway, and hopefully we will find that out very soon. Hopefully we'll get that information to you guys here in the near future. As I'm currently editing today's video, it was just announced that Dale Earnhardt Jr. is going to be joining the ownership group of the Music City Grand Prix, which, for those you don't know, is the IndyCar race that is going to be taking place in Nashville. Now, Dale Jr. is joining, I think, 9 or 10 people who are current members of that, including Teddy Phillips, who's the CEO of Phillips and Jordan, Stanton Barrett, who's a movie director, stunt coordinator, and a race car driver that's raced in NASCAR in the past, Scott Borchetta, Junior Hand, Darby Campbell, Justin Marks, a NASCAR owner right now at the moment, Gil West, Kevin Clayton, Brad Lager, Drew Kitchen, Andy Motes, Amish Perschik, John Thompson, Ace Harrington, and I do believe, if I'm not mistaken, another one that's part of that, I believe, is Justin Timberlake. I think he's part of that ownership group as well. This event is really, really huge for IndyCar, as they will be going to Nashville this year for the first time. I think this is about 2012, but not on the racetrack, to be racing on the road course and street circuit in the city of Nashville. As Nashville is becoming one of the biggest booming cities in America at this particular moment, including the fact there potentially could be 2 NASCAR races in the foreseeable future. NASCAR is training National Super Speedway, and we're seeing out IndyCar, and it's really, really exciting. And it's great to hear that Dale Jr. is joining the ownership group for the Music City Grand Prix. And now we're getting on to the next story of today's episode. We are going to talk about Michael Waltrip, as this is something really exciting, as he will be joining the SRX full-time in 2021. The 2-time Daytona 500 champion and the 1996 All-Star race winner is joining the SRX full-time in 2021. This is really, really exciting news, because very interesting is Michael Waltrip is a contact driver at Fox, and he'll be working with CBS as he's joining a series on CBS. That's something really, really cool. Yeah, really exciting that Michael Waltrip is coming out of retirement to race once again. The last time Michael Waltrip raced was in 2017 at the Daytona 500, and he actually ended up finishing in the top 10. I think he finished 8th at the Daytona 500 when he drove for Premium Motorsports in that Select Star, which was really, really good. Now, Michael Waltrip, I don't think he's going to contend for the win, if we're going to be honest. I think there's guys like Paul Tracy, Tony Stewart, and even some of the other guys in the field like Bill Elliott. I think they're overall going to be coming out of, like, those guys are coming out of retirement, and I think they're going to be more competitive than Michael Waltrip. I don't think Michael Waltrip is overall going to struggle. I think he is going to be up at the front, but really exciting to hear that Michael Waltrip is coming out of retirement. Like, that's a driver I did not have in my mind of racing SRX. I think this is now the 10th driver to be confirmed the SRX. I know they've talked about an all-star car and possibly a one-off cars for certain drivers. So we might have more announcements coming for the SRX down the pipeline. But yeah, really excited to hear that Michael Waltrip is joining SRX, and good luck to him. Hopefully he's able to contend for some wins, but I really don't think he's going to contend for wins. But I could be wrong, and hopefully he can do well in 2021. And now we're going to go ahead and talk about the next stories. We're going to go ahead and talk about noon start times. Yes, you heard that right. According to Adam Stern, John Auerwind from Sports Business Journal actually had a report recently that Brian Harris, the senior director, basically came out with this. He basically said that they liked their numbers from the races before the rain delay took place. Remember, the numbers basically said that before the rain delay happened, there were 8.48 million viewers. And this is actually something that John Auerwind brought up. He said, given the number of rain delays that have hit NASCAR's biggest race over the last 2 decades, it may be worth thinking about starting the race at noon again. I'd be surprised if these discussions aren't happening at this time. I do think that these discussions are happening. I actually looked up the last 20 years of this race. Now, from 1959 to 2002, there were no rain delays in the event. Now, there have been, I think, 7 races that have started since 2010 to 2016 when they started the race at earlier start times Only 2 out of those 7 have had certainly rain delays or delays in general, to 2012 to 2014, which are rain delays, and those started earlier. Compared to later start times, 2009, they had 3:30 p.m. start time. That race got rain delay, and that race did not end up finishing. And in the last 2 years, in 2020, 2021, they have had rain delays. 3 out of 5 races that started at 3 p.m. Eastern have had rain delays. And the biggest reason for this is that a lot of times, especially in the Florida weather, there generally is a lot more rain and potential of thunderstorms and pop-up shadows that we could see at the racetrack. So I am honestly not surprised at this given moment that there's talks about this. And in my opinion, they need to start these races at 12 or 1. You can no longer, in my honest opinion, start at least the Florida races, start them at 3 p.m. Eastern. I remember back in the day in like 2010 and 2011, on the West Coast, they started races at 3 p.m. On the East Coast, and those races started those at 1 p.m. And at night, they start those races at 7:30 Eastern. Can we just have standardized start times and not start these races at 2:30 or 3, especially in Florida? I would like that change to overall take place, and I think that they do need to change that for the better, because I think that we need to start these races a lot earlier, and I think we'd see more fans stay, because what we found out from the ratings is that no matter what the start time is, fans are going to come and watch the initial. And it's been noted that at the end of these races, we could see huge ratings, and I think we could be whipping right up this year, because the ratings were terrible for Daytona 500. We could have had ratings very similar to last year for like 2018 and 2019, even 2017. We were on track to have the most viewership of a race since 2017. So hopefully there is talk about this, because the late start times are absolutely ridiculous, and I'm hoping that there is conversation about noon start times or earlier start times going forward. But I don't think that is a conversation that is happening at this forgiven moment. And now we're getting on to the final major story of today's episode. We are going to talk about Brad Keselowski and Joey Logano's Penske feud. That is right. Yesterday it had been reported that Brad Keselowski and Joey Logano have not talked since the Daytona 500 at this time. Now, Joey Logano was on Race Hub, and he actually, Adam Alexander asked him that they had a conversation at this time, and Joey has said, no, we have not had a conversation. They basically have agreed to disagree in multiple ways, and Jeff Gordon was like, that means a no, that is a no. And then Logano actually responded and said, I think it's probably best to cool your jets a little bit before the conversation happens. Now, for those of you, let's talk about the incident that took place. So at the end of the Daytona 500 on the last lap, Brad Keselowski got a huge push from Michael McDowell at the end of the race. Joe Logano goes ahead and throws a big block. That would turn Logano and Keselowski up in the wall and cause a very fiery wreck. Now, Joey Logano and Brad Keselowski have had feuds in the past. Back in 2020, if you remember the Busch Clash, Brad Keselowski had some pretty choice words from Joey Logano, basically saying that he has caused a lot of wrecks. This past year in 2020 at Daytona 500, Keselowski basically said the same thing. And this is the second year in a row, especially during the Daytona Speedway, that there has been some tension between Joey Logano and Brad Keselowski. And to be perfectly honest with you, I am not surprised. And one thing I would like to start seeing, in my honest opinion, is I like to see Brad Keselowski get mad at Joey Logano and get in his face and start getting frustrated with him. Because honestly, I think Brad Keselowski should be mad about this. Because the problem right now, especially with the Super Speedway package and the drivers, is that these drivers, especially drivers like Joey Logano and some of these younger drivers, they were not around when Dale Earnhardt died. They brought this up in the fact that only Kurt Busch is the only driver that has been racing since the 2001 Daytona 500. And back in the earlier days as Super Speedway racing, back 2001, 2002, drivers took care of each other because there was a possibility that driver could end up getting seriously hurt or could end up possibly getting killed. And do these drivers not forget that last year in 2020 that Ryan Newman could have died? He was in a medically induced coma after Daytona 500. Do people not forget that Ryan Newman got seriously hurt and he had a bruised brain? And there have been a lot more injuries, especially over the last 5 years. I mean, Kyle Larson had I believe he had something broken. Denny Hamlin also brought this up in 2013 with the racing when he and Logano basically said, Denny Hamlin's probably fine. He probably didn't get seriously hurt, and he basically said that's taking it for granted. I agree with Denny Hamlin right there. I think a lot of these younger drivers, they feel like they're in overall a safer environment, and they don't have to worry about possibly getting hurt. But this racing is getting more and more dangerous, especially late in these Daytona 500s and especially in these Super Speedway races. And yes, you can overall go ahead and blame the package for that because you get these huge runs. But drivers are to blame for many wrecks, and Joey Logano is one of the biggest culprits when it comes to a lot of the big ones. 2020 Daytona 500. Joey Logano caused us the barely major big one. He was also involved in the 2020 August Daytona race, the cutoff race where the playoffs happened, where he was involved in it. And a lot of these younger drivers, they got to start understanding, and in my personal opinion, I think that if a driver does cause a big wreck, and if they are involved in the big one, if they're the one that caused it and wrecked the teammate's car, I agree with Jared here from the NASCAR Weekly Podcast. I believe that the team should cut the salary of these race car drivers because I think it's absolutely ridiculous. And there has to be something that changes because someone is going to get seriously hurt or someone's going to get killed. I'm being serious. Someone is going to get seriously hurt one of these wrecks, and it's going to end someone's career because people are wanting to be aggressive at the end of these races. And of course, this playoff system doesn't help where when they started the stage racing, they have to go for the win and not take care of each other because drivers are going all balls to the wall, and that's causing a lot of problems. And I just think that something needs to change about this. It's also very interesting, because Brad Keselowski and Joey Logano have had tension. Brad Keselowski has a contract year this year. Brad Keselowski only signed a one-year extension. And if this tension continues between Brad Keselowski and Joey Logano, I could definitely see Brad Keselowski leaving, going to another organization, possibly like SHR, possibly Ganassi if that opens up. Maybe even 2311 Racing could be where Brad Keselowski goes. Who really knows at this point? But in my opinion, teams have got to start penalizing these drivers or doing something. And there needs to be something that is done because unless something is done, we're going to continue to see racing like this and someone's going to get seriously hurt. I'm tired of seeing these wrecks at the end of these races and teams and drivers accepting it. I want to see drivers mad about these wrecks and I want to see people get frustrated. That's just my opinion on it though, but things have got to change. Just my opinion on that. So, anyway, that is going to be for today's NASCAR news video. I want to thank you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe to the channel, notifications so you can be notified when a video does go live on my channel. If you enjoyed today's video, make sure you like so YouTube can recommend more of these great videos out to you guys. If you do that, I would truly greatly appreciate it. Follow me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and support me on Patreon as well. Links in the description below for that. And comment your thoughts on today's video. What are your thoughts about the Brad Keselowski and Joey Logano feud? And do you think that their tension will build over, that there's potential that Brad Keselowski could leave the team in 2021? Let me know in the comments below. And what are your thoughts about all the other stories like Michael Waltrip joining the SRX full-time in 2021 and the potential of some conversation about some noon start times? Let me know in the comments below. Like I said, if you enjoyed today's video, make sure you like so YouTube can recommend more of these great videos out to you guys. If you do that, I greatly appreciate it. Anyway, like I said, I want to thank you guys for watching today's video, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care, everybody.